AITA for refusing to speak to my coworker? I am not op. Original post by you, Freddie, throw away in our Amithias hole. This was previously posted here a year ago. Trigger warning. Mentions of sexual harassment. Less than. Mood spoiler. All ends well. Less than. And NBSP. AITA for refusing to speak to my coworker? The 4th of May 2021. I know how it sounds and looks. Please save all judgments until after reading everything. I, 27 meters. Work with my partner of 6 years. Jamila, 24F. We've worked together for as long as we've been together. And most of our coworkers are aware of our relationship. We are married as of 2020. We recently took on a new intern, Olivia, who's in my department. I do most of her training and have been her mentor through most of her time here. Due to this, she spends a lot of her breaks with me and my group and leaves around the same time I do. Jamila comes to visit me during lunch and there is light PDA. She'll put her hand on my chest, take a bite of my lunch, squeeze my muscles. The usual flirty stuff. It's not an issue usually, so I didn't think it would be one now. My wife came home crying last Friday as she'd been reported to HR for harassment. There wasn't any real repercussions since as soon as they opened her file they saw that we were married. HR documents these things. I didn't know of anyone who could have reported her until this Monday. Olivia asked me if Jamila was still groping me. I asked her what she meant and she told me she put in a report with HR because she saw Jamila grab my ass in the parking garage. To be fair, Jamila did grab my ass. However, the advance wasn't unwanted. I explained to Olivia that Jamila and I were married, however she was firm in her belief that Jamila shouldn't touch me at all at work and that it sends a weird message to others at work. Since then I've avoided speaking to Olivia if things aren't work-related and it's been affecting her emotionally. I still greet her and say my goodbyes when it's time to leave. But she's asked to get coffee together and I told her I'd be spending my breaks with Jamila or another coworker and I don't invite her if I'm going somewhere for lunch. She's been very sad and inattentive at work and my coworkers are telling me to stop treating her this way because she was just looking out for my best interest. Am I the asshole for refusing to speak to her if it's not work-related? Verdict. NTA. Info. The PDA I mentioned is light touches. And it's usually during breaks. We'll share lunch, drink off of each other's cups. I'll occasionally hug her and she'll grab my arm or lean her head on me. We aren't making out and grabbing each other at work outside of that one instance. As far as introductions go, I told Olivia that Jamila was my partner, as that is usually how the company asks spouses to refer to one another. Also, I'm not ignoring her. However, if it's not work-related X, where is this? How is this done? Can you send out this email? Then I don't entertain it. She's not being hindered to do her job. Jamila's case with HR was closed fully this past week. I've spoken to a supervisor and asked that Olivia no longer be my trainee and that she be placed with a female manager. As to avoid any further discomfort, Olivia was in attendance for this call and pointed out that she was no longer invited to lunch breaks and that she felt I was retaliating against her. Our supervisor did inform her that workplace retaliation doesn't apply as breaks and lunches are not included in business operations and that these times are allowed to be as exclusive as employees see fit. She asked to not be moved from my team and in the end the decision was left up to me. However, I couldn't see things getting better, so I asked to move forward with having her be placed elsewhere. I did take into consideration my fellow coworkers and apologized if I've made them uncomfortable. The overall consensus was that they never cared either way and were just upset that Olivia was upset as it was causing some discomfort for others. Although Jamila and I have started leaving the office for breaks and have limited the touching. And NBSP. Reminder, I am not the original poster. Why does she expect Oop to eat lunch with her if he eats lunch with his wife? What if she brushes his shoulders or touches him? Who wants to be under that scrutiny during lunch hour? I worked with a married couple that was kind of flirty in the workplace, and I was able to clear it up in 30 seconds by asking the wife. Olivia is either stupid or has a crush on Oop. I think Olivia might have had a thing for Oop. I've worked with pairs of spouses many times and nobody thinks like this. Spouses at work have always been very mindful of their office conduct in my experience. And particularly so if one is management. $20 says the new girl had a crush on him. How horrible for Oop, his wife likes his butt. Yeah, I mean, if it was in the workplace, visible to everyone, and they're playing grab ass when they should be working? Sure. In the parking lot outside of the official office environment? Probably not the best place still. But they're married. I could care less. I've had people file complaints about married couples who hug at work. I can only imagine the circumstances behind the thought process to think that's inappropriate. If Olivia really cared about Sa, she'd have gone to Oop first before going to HR on his behalf. And more importantly, would have apologized when she found out her mistake. Olivia clearly was simply jealous and didn't expect Oop to freeze her out. Olivia was way out of line. Why wouldn't she at least talk to Oop before going to HR on his behalf? Sorry, Olivia. You can't 1. Say the way your supervisor spends his breaks makes you uncomfortable, and then 2. Demand he spend breaks, free time with you. Therefore forcing him to modify his behavior because you want to be around him? Girl, what? If she can report a butt grab from his wife for harassment, imagine what else she could report him for if he gives her any attention. So it was a good idea to avoid her. Also, it's really not in his job description to entertain Olivia during lunch breaks. And the fact that she's emotional about not having lunch or coffee with him to the point that it affects her work shows that she's unprofessional and immature. Olivia could have been hyper-focused on Oop without it being a crush. I've crossed paths with people who get weirdly possessive of others, particularly with coworkers and friends. Those types always came off as control freaks to me. Olivia knew OOP's wife was his partner because she was introduced to her that way. She filed a complaint against her, made sure Oop knew it was her, then invited him out for coffee. When Oop asked to have her transferred, she claimed he was retaliating against her. Olivia went out of her way to harass both the Oop and his wife. I'm surprised she was just moved and not let go altogether. This was always a concern of mine when my husband and I worked together. He's the owner. Whenever I orientated new staff, I always made it clear we were married. We always kept it professional, but sometimes there's that honest slip-up of saying, "Hey babe," instead of our names, or a light touch or sharing bites of lunch. I didn't want our all-female staff to think he was being inappropriate with me and think it could happen to them next. My husband is a super private person and didn't want anyone to think we were anything other than co-workers, but once I explained the potential for misinterpreting gestures, he was fully on board. We've mined so deep we're not even at updates anymore. Just reposts of a repost. I think we may have hit bedrock. I am a big no PDA person in the workplace, which should be highlighted in the Employee Relations Handbook. But to call it sexual harassment when it is between a married couple, just no. Lol, she was just an intern and probably just destroyed any possibility of becoming full-time later. During my internships I'd assume I don't know anything about the office, especially office dynamics. Either she was really into OOP or really trying to exert some dominance, show she's important, or just really dumb. Wouldn't in the parking garage be outside of business? Sounds like Olivia wants op and wanted Jamila out of the way. Reported her basically trying to force op to continue to invite her to lunch or join breaks, and was opposed to being moved away from op, even though the groping face with rolling eyes made her uncomfortable. Hating ass Olivia. I'm just gonna say that if I had been Olivia I would have been mortified and totally okay with being switched to a different mentor group. Overwhelming embarrassment would have been worse than a switch up. If that made Olivia uncomfortable, it's probably best for everyone that she not continue to directly work with OOP. If OOP is being friendly and cordial but choosing not to go the extra mile when it comes to socializing with her, that's totally appropriate, seeing as she has a low threshold for what's inappropriate in the workplace.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.